But you can hear me, right? You can hear me. Yeah, on YouTube, it's not working. Yeah, it has come. Okay, it has come. So I have to check the settings. All right. Sorry, sorry. Okay, so all right. Let me do everything again. Let me change my microphone. Okay, so let me do that process again. Since you had a technical. Let me do everything again. Okay, so this morning I wanted to come early for us to analyze the TPI on the pound, but since I was facing some technical problem, I wasn't able to be on the stream at on time. So initially the forecast number. So if you want to interpret or if you want to be analyzing news, this is how you'll be going by. So the forecast number is what 2.3%. Okay. So before this 2.2%, this is how you are going to analyze. You check the forecast, you compare the forecast to the previous number. So the forecast number was 2.3. So if you want to know the details about the news events, you have to open this one. It will tell you exactly what it means. Okay. It will tell you exactly what it means. So with the CPI simply means cost of price of goods, consumer price index. Okay, it's simply cost of goods and services. So if cost of goods and services increase, so they are projecting 2.3, which is higher. So if cost of goods and services increases, what will happen to the currency? Okay, that's what it means. So if cost of goods and services have increased, that means what? Inflation is very high. So the only way they are going to combat inflation is to what? Increase interest rates. Because if interest rate is increased, people will not be willing, or people will not be interested in what? Borrowing money from the bank, because interest on loans are going to be increased. The only thing that is going to increase is what? Deposit, because people will be interested in depositing money more, other than what? As in spending money. Because if you deposit money in your bank account, the interest is going to be bigger than you borrowing money from what? The bank. So people will be interested in what? People will be interested in saving money other than what? Borrowing money. So that's what it means by what? CPI. So it's an inflation data. So now they were projecting 3.4. Okay, 2.3 rather. They were projecting, so that means core CPI. Core CPI was 3.4. So if inflation, so that means the year by year inflation data is what usually they use. So 3.4%, which was what? Lesser than. So if inflation numbers are lesser. Okay, all right. So that means they don't use the CPI, they rather use the core CPI. So let's read the meaning of. So change in price of goods and services purchased by consumer, excluding the letter actual greater than forecast, is good for the economy. The core data has a mild impact relative to other countries because overall CPI is the central bank's mandate. So mostly the core CPI is the most important thing. Okay, so that means what came out was the same thing that they forecasted. So the numbers that they forecasted was 3.4. Okay, and the previous numbers were what, 3.5. So normally they use the core CPI as compared to the CPI, the raw CPI, but this was not a high impact news. So the core CPI was 3.5 previously, and the forecast number was 3.4. So which was what, lesser than what they got the other time. That means what, cost of goods and services were very less. So if cost of goods and services were less, there's no need to increase interest rate. So it's not good for the currency pair. So that's why we saw pound what, we saw the pound falling. Okay, we saw the pound falling. So that's the reason why we saw the pound falling. So you have to be able to interpret. Being able to interpret the news is going to help you one way or the other. Okay, sometimes helps. So today around 12:30, they are expecting what, core CPI to be what, they are forecasting 0.2. The core CPI they are forecasting 0.2, and the previous numbers was what, 0.1. So that means what, if CPI is, the inflation numbers are it's high, that means it's good for the economy. They are going to increase interest rate. So we have to see the gold, we have to see gold USD, we have to see gold falling, since they are expecting the dollar to be strong. Okay, so one thing you have to notice, currencies, uh, currency, or the prices of what, two currencies are being affected by the macro economic activities, so such as the inflation, such as the interest rates, GDP. Exchange rates are being affected by what, the macroeconomic events. So the CPI, they are expecting gold to what, they are expecting the dollar to what, gain strength. So what you have to expect is what, you are expecting the what, you are expecting gold USD to what, fall. Okay, so you have to understand, this is just the basic, what, the base and the quote currency. So analyzing gold, if you are analyzing gold on the weekly time frame, we have what, a support. On the daily time frame, we have a resistance over there. So we have a support too over here. So as I said, so if you heard me well, if not my microphone, I said earlier that we don't have to, still gold is in what, on a rise. You don't have to go for a sell. Gold is still on a rise. Okay, early morning I said it. So maybe the CPI is going to push gold down. Okay, but there was no entry even on the H1 time frame. There was no entry even on the H1 time frame. So if you are buying on this support, you have a resistance over here. You have a resistance over here. So this was the CPI. This was the CPI candle. So there's no entry at this point on gold for this point, because at this area, all these levels are what, ranging. All these levels are ranging. So there's no need for you to look for any buy at this point. because this point they are all ranging. So the market this week has been tough. It has really
So the
been,
market this week has been tough.
it has really been tough to get an entry. So the best entry was at this point. The best entry was yesterday on this level. But now, let's see. All right. So far, how is it going? Let me seek. Let me listen to some of you. What are your problems that you are facing? Rennie, how are you? Are you there? What are some of the problems that some of you are facing? Let's make it Q&A session. Your
Q&A session.
your microphone is not. Are you still in bed?
Your mic session. Your microphone is not.
Yeah, I can hear.
Still in bed.
Okay, so I'm listening. You said what?
Okay, so I'm listening. Said what?
Read the market. Okay. All right. Okay, so the analysis you don't have problem with it, but the entry is the problem. Okay, I will talk about it.
Okay, so the analysis you don't have problem, but the entry is a problem.
Yeah, it, it, so I told you I said that thing that if daily is an uptrend, if they are inconsistent with each other, especially if the daily is an uptrend, H4 focus on the H4 time frame. Yeah, focus on the H4 time frame. Don't focus on the daily time frame. Okay, but it's because we are intraday traders. We trade a section. We trade only a candle. We trade the 4 hour candle. So at this point in time, we are trading only the 4 hour candle. Okay, we are trading only the four. So it's always advisable you trade on, especially you trade on the levels of the higher time frames, the daily time frame and the H4 time frame. Okay, only. So at this point like this, if you check yesterday, I saw a nice, but it was during the what do you call it? It was a news event, PPI. Yeah, PPI. So you see, we have we have a resistance over here. We have a resistance over here at H1. We have a support over here. So something like this, and the candle has one. This candle close. So this point like this, even if you are trading on H1 time frame, you are trading on a strong level. Okay, so always when you are trading, make sure you are considering the strength of the level. Okay, if suppose maybe you are trading on H1, make sure the H1 level is strong. So something like this, if you are taking a trade over here, the probability is very high. The probability of it going in your favor is very high. You get me? The probability of it moving in your favor is very high. So, but this one was a news event, PPI. This was 12:30. So if you move to the 30 minutes, you can see this is a news event candle. Yeah. So with the entry, I will talk about it. Okay. So that's all. Okay. So who again? Who again? Any challenge so far? What are some of the problems you are facing? Okay, so with the entry, when it comes to the entry last time I said if you are entering the market, first of all, the things that you have to factor into considerations are the things that you have to factor into consideration are the zones. First of all, the zones, the key level, the area of interest, area of interest, area of interest, and candles. Okay, and candles. So these are the things that you have to factor them into consideration. So first of all, you have to make sure is that it depends on where you are looking at. It depends on the time frame you are looking for the entry. Yeah. So if you are waiting for H4, if you are waiting for an entry on H4 time frame, then you have to wait for the H4 candle to close. So you watch the time remaining for the H4 candle to close, then you make a decision. If you are waiting for H1 candle to close, or if you are trying to take an entry on H1, you wait for the H1 to close, then you make a decision. So it depends on where you are where you want to make a decision, the time frame you want to take a trade. You get it? The time frame you want to take a trade. That's the most important thing. Yeah. So the best thing you can do is what? First of all, you have to determine your setup. So last time I said there are differences between setup and entry. You get me? We have difference between there are differences between setup and entry. So setup, you have to wait for market structure. So maybe some of the things that you are going to look for is what? The trend. Where is the trend heading to? What's your daily bias? So mostly you focus on, for now, focus on your focus. Your daily bias should be on what? The H4 time frame. You get it? Your daily bias should be on the H4 time frame. So maybe higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high. This should be your what? Your daily bias. Sorry, this should be your way of what? Identifying your bias. Okay. So if the market is in an uptrend, you are going to look for a buy. If the market is in a downtrend, you are going to look for a sell. Okay. So this should be your setup. This should be your setup. You get me? This should be your setup. So you have to make sure it has fallen on a strong area of interest. So the strong area of interest can be what? The daily support or resistances, or the H4 support and resistances. So you wait for the H4 candle to, as it has broken like this, you wait for a retest. Okay. You wait for a retest. So something like what has happened on GU on the weekly time frame. I hope you can see. Breakout, retest. Can you see it? Can you see the break, retest? It's retested on what? This key level. Okay, it's retested on this key level. So if you are taking a trade, this is the point, or this is the place you are going to take your entry. You are going to take your entry at this level. Okay, so when you come to this level, what are you going to look for? Okay, so that's where the entry will come in. So after identifying your setup, you again go for what? Your entry. What are you going to look for before you enter the market? You get it? What are you going to look for before you before you enter the market. So that's where the entry is going to come in. You see the candle has what fallen on it exactly. You get it? The candle has fallen on this level. The candle has fallen on this candle has closed exactly on this level. So either the weekly time frame is going to give you an entry, or it's not going to give you an entry. So if you heard me, or if you were around yesterday, I said we are going to wait for the weekly time frame. If this candle close something like a small candle like this, okay, a small candle like this, then we are going to take what? A buy. But I said because of you have high impact news and those stuffs, we are not going to get something like that. I said it clearly that we are not going to get something like that. So this is the level that you are going to find what? Your entry. You are going to find an entry at this level. So when you move to the daily time frame, that's where you are going to, in case maybe this weekly setup, okay, the way it has formed is a setup. The way this one has formed, break, retested, is a setup. You get it? It's a setup. So on the entry, sometimes you get the entry on H4, sometimes you get your entry on H1. But with the entry, you have to make sure the time frame you are searching for your entry is also in the same direction as what? The weekly time frame. It's the same direction as your setup time frame. Okay. So let's suppose this is it has happened on what? H4 time frame. So this is what, when you come to your entry, this how it has what? Okay, so this maybe supposing this H4 time frame. So I said you have to first of all identify your zone. So when you check this side, there's no what key levels over here. There's no key levels over here. So you are going to take this point. Since there's no key level, the only key level is at this point, this resistance level. So this is the point you are going to find your odds. This is the point you are going to put your take profit over here. So your entry is either going to be area of interest. So this is the area of interest. So I said only on the area of interest, most of the times with the level that you have to be, or the time frame you have to be searching for your area of interest should be the H4, the daily, okay, the H4, the daily and the weekly. So this is on H4. So after identifying, so you found what your area of interest. So the next is candles. So you have to wait for a candle. So either you are going to, if you find a candle at H4, since H4 is already an uptrend, you have to look for something like this. You have to it's something like this should be displayed. You get something like this, then if it displayed like this, then you take a buy to this side. You take a buy to this side. You take a buy to this side. Okay, you take a buy to this side. So this is one. So if you don't get an entry at what? H4 time frame, where you found your analysis time frame or your focus time frame, then you move to a time frame lower than what? You go for a time frame lower than where you found your setup. So maybe it can be H1 or M30. So when you move to your H1 time frame, you have to make sure the trend is in your direction. Okay, so maybe if you move to H1 time frame, you are going to look for something like this. Maybe if it is in a downtrend, you have to wait for what? A flipping structure to be in the same direction as what? The H4 time frame. You get it? So maybe this point, so if it breaks, So you have to wait for a candle to break, not an impulse entry. So if it breaks, then what? If it breaks like this, then this H1 time frame direction is in the same what direction with what the H4 time frame. You get it? It's in the same direction. Then you look for zones. You look for clean zones. If you watch your left, you look for clean zones. Okay. So that's what you have to be looking for when you are entering the market. Is it clear? Is it clear? So one thing is this game you need experience. You need experience in this game. So those people who think maybe it's a get rich quick scheme, they can get it within a day. Nah, you see, even so, imagine as I'm even before you every day. So you people are still finding it difficult. You get it. So you need experience, and you need a lot of what, a lot of work, as in practicing. You have to practice for you to get familiar with how your system works. So how many times do you even practice? How many times within a day do you practice your system? Or how many times do you even watch the market? Okay. Yeah, so as you are watching, then you are watching the materials too. You watch the materials, you practice. That's how you do it. Yeah, so you have to have something that you are looking up to for you to know what you are doing. Euro USD. Wow. Okay, let's see. Let me see the higher time frames. I think maybe there will be an entry. You see, yesterday I said it will flip bullish, right? Or yesterday you weren't around. Sunderman. So on the daily time frame, so on the daily time frame, so we have a clean zone over here. So let's move to the H4 time frame. So H4, looking left. Let's see whether we have some consolidations. So this is the current market price. So I think there's a buy on what Euro USD. You can buy Euro USD. Let me see. Okay, so let me see this one. Yeah. Oh, but so you can still buy. So your stop loss is supposed to be here. Okay. Since this candle hasn't closed, so the price. So you can still buy. Still an opportunity. Yeah, you can put your stop loss here. 18 pips. Then you target 34 pips. So the risk to reward is good. So you can still buy Euro USD. Okay. So one thing, wait for the H1 to flip. Okay. You wait for the H1 to flip. So one thing is, yeah, bullish. Then you take a buy. So, yeah. So the game is about confidence. Okay, you have to be confident in executing. If you lose, it's part of the game. You manage risks. You find out. You move. So if you're afraid of losing, you can't be what You can't be a trader. If losing is not, if losing is, you don't want to lose, then I think you have to stop trading, because no matter what, that's the nature of the game. So Euro USD, you can buy Euro USD. So your stop loss should be at this level. Okay, your stop loss should be at this level. Your stop loss, the beneath the bearish candle, beneath this bearish candle. So we have this zone. Oh, you see, this zone is even stronger. This zone is very strong. We have this zone over here. So you see the one that I even showed you on GU. We have this zone over here. We have this zone over here. You get it? So this point is very strong, and now price, initially it's closed over here, and now it has closed. This one is what, flipping. So what I said, you wait for this candle. Okay, listen to me. You wait for this candle to, for this H1 candle to flip and break above this one, then you take a buy. Okay, wait for the flip, then you take a buy. Wait for the flip, so it will be a point. I was having it on my watch list, but I just deleted it. So the risk to reward is okay. So today we'll be watching Euro USD. Because when you look left, there's no, you have a clean area of interest that price is supposed to fall. When you move to the daily time frame, Branding will always bring a pair and you will lose. On which pair? Uh, okay. Yeah. Sometimes you have, so the a daily candles to the, it has broken the previous tip. Okay, it has broken the previous tip. So the possibility that it will move to the next zone is very high. To the, who's calling me by this time? The possibility that it will flip to the next one is very high. So you see this candle was open with no wick. On the daily time frame. So before this zone will break, it's going to take a lot of time. So if it's flip bullish, then you take a bite in the next one. Yeah, the dip of, let me check there. Okay, so it should be at the dip of, if the previous daily candle flip, so it's going to be here. Okay, but it's the same thing as what, it's the same thing over here. So when you move to the daily time frame, it's going to be at the daily time frame dip. Okay, so the stop loss, the price for the stop loss is going to be 1.0980. So let me It's going to be around SL 1.0981. That's the stop loss. So entry will be around, yeah, entry will be here. Entry. Entry is equal to entry will be 1.1001. Yeah. So the take profit is going to be here. So let's see what will happen. So the H1 to also look clean. The H1 also look clean. But you have to hope up. Yeah, you have to also hope that maybe it will move before the CPI. Okay, because if it doesn't move before the CPI, we are going to be trapped. So they are expecting the core CPI. They are expecting the core CPI. They are expecting 0.2. That means what? Inflation numbers are very going to be high. If inflation is high, they're going to increase. So that means. eh, So if this data, if the way the data has been presented is going to happen like that, the inflation numbers are the inflation numbers are very high, 0.2. They are expecting higher numbers. Okay. If they are expecting higher numbers, that means uh, there's going to be what? Uh, you are going to see strength in what? The dollar. Yeah. So if the strength, you are going to see strength in the dollar. That means what? Euro USD needs to fall. So you have to hope this one will happen, okay, before the CPI, so that either you'll be able to break even or what. So yeah, you have to hope that this thing happens before the news will be released. If we get triggered, you have to wait for either the news will be released. Because the H1, see, it has broken exactly. So this point is uh I'm not using, you are not using, or I'm not using, I'm using. Okay. Okay. I'm not using no under. Hey, so let me analyze it well, because but was it were you finding the zones too over there? Uh, it has flipped. I didn't check it. The H1 has flipped. It hasn't flipped though. It hasn't flipped yet. The H1 hasn't flipped yet. Eh, so let's stop. So the prices are the same, they're different too. So it has flipped, right? So you are in. Not yet. Okay. I think even this one give. Okay, so you'll be in by now. Or not yet. It hasn't broken it yet too. Okay. It has break. Okay. You should be in by now. So the best entry would have been here. We didn't see it early. You would have entered it over here. This is the best price. But it doesn't matter since the risk to reward is very high. So you are in, right? I hope you are you full margin your account? Okay. Okay. So the stop loss should be so there was a zone over here. There was a zone over here. There was a zone. Oh, open like how? Do the proper thing. You said you want to. Do proper. Just allow it to hit your take profit. So the stop loss is going to be at the H1. The stop loss is going to be at the H4, this level. The price is what? 1.09817. SL. So SL means stop loss. Those who are confused. 1.0981. So the entry was at this level. When the H1 flipped, we missed the initial. This was the entry. So the entry was 1.1028. Entry. 1.102. That was the entry. So you have to note that we are in volume times too. So with volume times, you are going to see a lot of what. So this point is going to be the take profit. Take profit is going to be 0.3636. So on the weekly time frame, we have a clean area here that price should fill. When you move to the weekly time frame, to okay, it should break. We have this week over here. We have this week over here at the daily. The same thing as the daily time frame. So why you didn't see it earlier? This point would have GBPC. GBPCHF. There's no entry. Is it under? Okay. There's no entry on that. Maybe it has spot. Supposing this one broke. The best entry would have been here, this level, but from here to here it's not that wide, so it's not a deal. So you have to as you are trading Euro USD, for instance, you have to trade it for long and see how the candle move. So me, for instance, GBP USD, for instance, since I've traded it for long, if I enter a trade and I'm seeing a deep retracement, the possibility that I'm going to lose the trade is very high. So these are some of the things that, so you have to have a relationship with the pair that you trade. You have to have a relationship with the pair that you trade. So gold is breaking out. So GU, let me check the H1. So there's no entry on GU. So one thing about Euro USD is the daily is what? An uptrend. You get it? Daily is an uptrend. H1 is what? So you have high hopes in the buys. H42 is an uptrend. So just manage risks, and because yesterday I said if it flipped bearish, but the range wasn't big. So this was the range yesterday wasn't big. So as it broke out, did a rate test. So looking at this wall, even this one, so made a console, so breakout. So this move should be this is a range with 3. So this should be a big move. This should be a big move at the H4 time frame. So those who are confused, if you see this red line, the red zone means what? The stop loss area, and the green one is what? The take profits area. So the risk reward is fine. It's okay. Brainy, are you having the Telegram link? Please, can you share it in the group? I think you have some new members. So one thing I hate is if I enter a trade and during the lending session it doesn't move in my favor and it moves me to New York session. I hate that thing. I like my trade to get hit. I like taking advantage of the lending. I like taking advantage of the lending ball. Gold is crazy this morning. Good. So with GU, so this zone is very strong.